Hello, my name is Dermot Ryan. I'm an IT trainer and I work for a company called Aspire Achieve Advanced who provide apprenticeships, and I'm based in Brighton in the UK. I'm going to give you a guided tour of a computer system and explain what all the interfaces and buses do. We've got quite an old computer system. If you have a look on the back, you can actually see that it's got all the legacy ports. So what you've got here is you've got PS2 ports for the mouse and for the keyboard. This is a serial port, parallel port. So the serial port used to be connected to modems and equipment like that. You could also link two PCs together with a null modem cable where you could transfer data between them using the serial ports. I used to use a thing called LapLink, which was a software that allowed you to do that. This is the VGA port where you connect your monitor. This PC has integrated graphics. Here you've got USB ports. This is an integrated Ethernet port which you use to connect to a network. These USB are used for connecting peripherals like keyboards, mice, external drives, all that kind of stuff. And then you can see you've got integrated audio here. And this machine actually has a modem plugged into one of the expansion slots. So let's have a look inside the case. Okay, so big component here is the power supply, and that supplies all the power. Mains goes in the back there, and then various voltages come out here. There's +5, -5, +12, -12. This is where it actually connects to the motherboard. Power supply also powers up all the peripheral devices like the disk drives. So you can see that this is a power cable here for the hard disk. This is the hard disk. This is the optical drive, which is a DVD-ROM, I believe. Yep. And again, you've got this power cable here providing power to the DVD-ROM. If we look at the motherboard, you've got the processor here, which has got a big chunky heatsink, as you can see there, to dissipate the heat, and it's got a fan on top to keep it cool as well. It's a little bit dusty in there, could probably do with a clean. You've also got a fan on the back of the case to keep the rest of the system cool. If you look on the motherboard, you can see several components. You've got this one here, which is the inbuilt graphics controller. We've got the system RAM here, which is on a slot, on a plug-in slot. We've also got the SATA interface, which is these two red cables, which is a serial ATA interface that allows the disk drives to communicate with the motherboard. And we've also got a little battery here with a little button cell which keeps the real-time clock running and keeps the BIOS settings powered up. Here we've got some expansion slots, 1, 2, 3. This one has a modem plugged into it, which is ancient technology, which is not used very much anymore. But if you needed dial-up, if you're in a very remote area, you might be using dial-up. All of these connectors here are for the integrated network, which is on that side, and here you've got the integrated audio. On the board there are several buses as well, which you can't actually see because they're actually, it's probably a multi-layer board, so you won't be able to see them, but I can show you very briefly how the front side, what the front side bus is, what the memory bus is, and what the North Bridge and South Bridge controllers do, which are probably both integrated into this chip here. This is the chipset. So let me just take you over to my PC where I've got a nice picture and I can explain how that works. So over here, what we've got is, we have the CPU, which is connected to the front side bus. Then we've got the North Bridge, which is the kind of memory controller, and that connects to the memory with the memory bus. So these are all the RAM strips, and also to a PCI Express or AGP graphics, which requires very high-speed communication. Then we've got an internal bus here, and the North Bridge connects to the South Bridge, which connects to the standard PCI expansion slots. It also connects to, if you can just see that, you've got IDE, SATA, USB, Ethernet, all that kind of stuff. So basically the south bridge communicates with all the peripherals. Whoops, come back to life again. Okay. Oh, whoops, here we go. Okay, and if we just scroll down a little bit, yeah, so that's the Super I/O, which connects to the serial parallel, and these are all cables that go off the board. So I think if we come back up here, you should be able to see that I think both of those North Bridge and South Bridge are integrated into this chipset here. Okay, so that's the end of your guided tour of the computer. If you want to have a look at the front panel, what we've got is, this is a very old PC, so it's got a slot here for a floppy drive, and we've got the power switch here, we've got the audio connectors here, we've got two USB ports on the front, so if you wanted to plug in possibly an external hard drive or a memory stick, you could plug it in there. If you wanted to use USB keyboards and mice, you'd probably plug them into these slots at the back here. If you wanted to connect to a network, you put an Ethernet cable in there. If you wanted to connect to a parallel printer, which is ancient technology, it would connect to that. That's the VGA output for your video. And then you've got serial ports, keyboard, mouse. And then we've got a modem here, and the line goes in this side. So basically that goes to the telephone line, and this goes to your phone. So you can use the phone, not while you're using the modem at the same time though. Okay, so that's the end of the guided tour. Bye bye.